Tom Brady came back, yo. I don't know if y'all was aware. 43 years old, old man. Everybody said he couldn't do it. He did it. Thanks to a Gronkowski phone call, a FaceTime call, that the service was bad. You know, it was breaking up. Tom Brady misinterpreted. Did y'all ever hear a rumor that that Barry Sanders said, "I'm tired," and everybody thought he was retired, so he just let it be?
I heard that, yeah. When he on his retired phone call, yeah, I heard that rumor.
He said, "I'm tired," and everybody thought he said he was retired, so he went with he retired. He's like, "Yeah, I guess so."
Ain't no way in hell that's lasting if I'm the owner or the coach of the Lions.
I'd be like, hold on. You need a nap?
Word, I didn't hear that. You said you're tired or retired? I don't think I heard the R.
Go get you a memory foam, some new pillows. We're gonna take care of that.
Word.
Get you a California king size bed, roll around all.
I'm glad he did retire. At that time when he did retire, I was like heartbroken because that's like my favorite player of all time.
Everybody was. But Tom didn't retire.
Sprint PCS.
Tom had T-Mobile. Well, Tom finally got T-Mobile, but back then he didn't have it. I don't know who it was. This ain't no advertising for them anyway.
Boost
back again.
Yeah, Boost Mobile.
He went to Tampa, so TB12 went to TB. The Super Bowl is gonna be in TB. Said I need to be there because it just makes sense.
Illuminati.
Stay woke. Keep your third eye open. You know what I mean? First ever Super Bowl in the team's home stadium that made it there. It happened, and everybody thought he wasn't going to be able to do it again. 10th Super Bowl, which was incredible. You know what I'm saying? In its own right, football is one of the hardest to repeat back to back, to get back to in general. You know what I'm saying? You know, we always talk about Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills getting there 4 times in a row. But the difference is they went 0-4.
That's crazy.
Y'all know me. I'm not here for participation trophies. I'm all about winners. And 10 times he got there and he won 7, 70% is passing. That's a good grade right there. Can't nobody argue that. I feel there is no more conversation who the greatest quarterback is of all time, as much as it hurts me to say that.
Oh, is he about to say it? I want to hear him say it.
As a 49er fan who had Joe Montana and
that was mine too. And
my favorite was Steve Young though. My favorite quarterback was Steve Young, but Joe was just the greatest. But Steve, I love Steve as a lefty. He was mobile, but Joe was the greatest. But now
I need to hear him say it. Come on now.
It's no argument. Tom Brady has some tainted rings because Nah, I want to talk about first and foremost the rings that they got before, because a lot of people always say that. But at this point, I will say it. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback. I'm not even.
Yeah, it is.
All jokes aside, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback. We could talk about the Deflategate and all the other stuff that got them there, but at the end of the day, for him to still do what he's doing right now and winning, not just getting there but winning, I give him the credit for that, hands down. Like a lot of people want to talk about the flags. We spoke about that already. The flags that flew yesterday. I don't think that
excuses.
I don't think that changed the outcome of that game at all. If it was a close game and then a penalty happened, or if they wasn't calling it one way and then they started calling it one way, I'll give you that. But this game wasn't close enough for that to matter.
And they were consistent the whole game.
The whole time. Stop tugging on jerseys. Stop holding them. It's pretty basic. It's pretty basic. So Tom Brady, 7 rings. There's an Ariana Grande song that's called 7 Rings. She never mentioned 7 rings in the song, so it's not worth really putting as his theme music.
He won it on the 7th day.
Oh, stay woke. Stay woke. I mean, you know, some people say it's the first day.
February 7th.
Listen,
stay woke.
I mean, I ain't saying nothing. Ain't gonna shut my channel down. But what are y'all thoughts on him, the legacy, all that? Yeah, Rel, you go first, Rel.
Yeah, I'm with you. To me, the GOAT was Joe Montana. I'm still not a fan of Tom Brady. You know, I didn't become one yesterday, but with what he did and what he's done, I can't not give him that title. They always all the winning that they did, there was always the question: is it the system? Is it Belichick or is it Brady? You know, so that was always that question. And as long as he played there, you was always going to have that question. So then he goes and immediately, and there's obviously factors that always factor into any result of a season for a team, but immediately he leaves, Belichick stays, and then the Patriots can't make the playoff. And he goes to where people looked at it as he needs to clean this up. He needs to turn this around. He needs to. We got him here to bring that winning culture, that experience. You know, so nobody would think that's going to happen in one season and whatever the case may be. And they start off. They start wasn't that dope. So people were like, yeah, see, it ain't that easy, is it, Tom? You know, like they give him all that flat, but then they get smoked in the first quarter by KC. Then from that point on, they like, nah, that's not how it goes. So then that's the last game they lose, and turn everything around, offense, defense. And to do that in a season, 43 years old, Super Bowl, with me, it's two teams make the Super Bowl. So I'm not even shitting on the nigga that lose, because making the Super Bowl to me is something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't. I'm not shitting on it. Like, the rest of y'all didn't do it, so y'all want to laugh at me because I lost. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, President.
But for him to do that, go up against where everybody is calling the highest power offense, what most people feel is the best quarterback in the league. You know, the dude that's next up. You know, you got the whole kid versus the goat, you know, and then, you know, the goat, a kid is a baby goat, you know, or whatever, you know. So
don't even ask you how.
Not
even asking.
But to do that and win first year in, like, how do you not get? And like you said, again, as much as making the Super Bowl is an accomplishment period, he won 7 out of 10. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, how you got to say that he's the best ever. As of this point, you know, who knows what's going on in the future. And he said, they asked him if he want to play at 45. He said he considered that. So I mean,
and you believe him.
Yeah.
Like he's just playing. He just,
you know, I don't think anybody here be shocked if he win next year too. I mean, I'm not writing that in the books, but I mean, they do have a lot of free agents, like a lot of his big offensive weapons. This was their contract year, so they got decisions to make as far as what that's going to entail. But we've seen him put puzzles together in New England with new players and win that way. So who knows? But he's the best ever. I had to give him that. You know, I ain't a hater, so what's in front of me, I recognize. So
every year in football, 12 teams out of 32 make the playoffs. This year was 14 teams.
Yeah,
but 14 out of 32 make the playoffs. In basketball, it's 16 out of 30.
Right.
So that's more than half.
More than half, yeah.
Football is less than half. It's hard just to make the playoffs.
Man.
And then when you get to the playoffs, it's single game elimination. Mm-hmm. So in every other major sport, you can have an off game. 3 out of 5, 4 out of 7. They got us in game 1. You know what I'm saying? But we going to bounce back. Home field, like home court advantage. When we switch over here, okay, we going to get y'all. Football, you don't get that. So for that accomplishment alone, like, that's big. Chris, actually, I'm gonna go to Jared first because Jared want to talk. So Jared, go ahead, go.
Well, what can I say, man? The dude's a GOAT, man. Like, I'm a Baltimore fan. I'm always gonna be a Baltimore fan. So I always had a love-hate relationship for Brady. I respect the dude's game. Like, end of the day, the dude is the greatest quarterback. I was trying to figure out, like, who has won, multiple Super Bowls with different teams, and only one, like, Peyton Manning became the first to do it with the Colts and the Broncos, but that's all in the same conference. This dude went to a whole complete conference, a different conference, a team, a conference that he doesn't play in like full time like that, and still dominated that shit to get a Super Bowl. Like, he's the first player to get one in the NFC and in the AFC. Craig Morton, I had to look that one back. Like, Craig Morton back in the 70s got the 2 Super Bowls and lost both of them, Broncos and the Cowboys. Like, the dude is that phenomenal. At 43 years old, like, the dude, you can't, and I know people who still want to hate on him and say, X, Y, Z about, fuck Tom Brady and stuff. You don't have to like the dude all you want.
Talk
But
me.
but his game is what it is.
The play gate.
Like he plays that shit, and he's a master at his craft. Brady is just he's just that good, and it's funny that that he texts. I was saying earlier that he texts Matthew an apology. The only thing that he can say to Honey Badger is what.
Don't take this ass whipping personally.
That's the only thing you can say to him.
So what was his apology to Matthew about? Like,
because they had, I don't know, but
I know they had words on the field, but I mean, like,
because he went back to him. So Tyrann Mathieu started it, and at first Brady walked away.
Yeah, but then he ran back.
He kept going at him, and then Brady went to him and started getting in his face. So
I still don't see why you apologize. Though. I mean,
because because the kids was watching.
Bro, we in Black History Month, all right? We in Black History Month. That's why. Like,
this is during Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. You think he hashtagged that in his text message? He texted him.
Black Lives Matter. We can't do that. We can't do that nowadays. We can't go against.
His text message was asking him, "Are you black?" Because Tyrann Mathieu, a little light skin, he was like, "Are you black?" Okay, then I want to apologize to you, sir. He had to make sure first. He was like, "Not sure." He's a little light skinned, nobody kid. But
yeah, I mean, out of four, only 4 players have ever, gone to the Super Bowl with 2 different teams, and 2 of them are won, but only one is won in different conferences. And like, what can I say, man? The dude is just that damn elite.
And he was the 199th pick.
Yeah, on top of that.
Yep.
Everything was slow, like terrible body shape. You know what I'm saying? And
terrible hair.
I want to know where Drew Bledsoe is. I want to interview Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, Super Bowl ring.
I mean, he got one as the backup, but I want to know how he feels about all this.
Flowers.
Chris, go ahead, take it away.
I mean, he's definitely the GOAT. That whole apologizing to Tyrann Mathieu shit, he should have wrote him he should have, when he ran up on him, man, all I wanted to hear was somebody say, "Yo, you heard what Tom Brady said?" He told him his wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios. That's all I wanted to hear he say, because with the shit that he was talking and the ass whooping that they was giving him, I'd have let it fly. He wouldn't have heard the end of, like, soon as the game would have been over, I'd have went looking for him, like, on my Richard Sherman and fucking Michael Crabtree type shit. Like, I done went looking for him. Like, you tried me with that sorry ass DB. Like, you wouldn't have been able to tell me nothing. But I feel like with this win, granted, everybody's trying to take away from what Bill Belichick built in New England. I feel like this doesn't take away from Bill Belichick's legacy. This just adds and heightens to Tom Brady's.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But they were still the fucking Tom and Jerry in New England. Like, they weren't winning. Either one wasn't winning without the other in New England. Hands down, period. Tom Brady left and joined a very loaded fucking offense and a beast of a defense to win outside of that. But in that system, to win how they won and with what they won, because it was very little to none weapons in New England every fucking year, except for one. And when they did have weapons, they didn't win, which is fucking crazy and unbelievable. It was just amazing. But I think there's no question he's definitely the GOAT. For me, as a quarterback, Joe Montana was definitely my guy. As a 49er fan and as just a fan of football, like, it was just amazing growing up and being so young and me getting into my understanding of what football was, seeing that and going through the history of my team was just amazing. But I look at it as, so with him being the greatest quarterback of all time, do you guys put that as a category of him being the greatest football player ever of all time?
I don't know about that.
I think football,
like just GOAT of football, period.
football
Would you guys categorize that?
It ain't like basketball where you play.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say who it would be. You know.
Okay.
I'm always gonna go with Barry.
Football, you play the position. You don't always get the option to even, sometimes you could be Dion or whatever and play both. Right. You know what I'm saying? Even some receivers don't even get to be in the slot. Corners only stay on one side. They don't get to go with the man. So I think football doesn't give you the chance to be the greatest player. But the greatest quarterback position is the highest touted position. So that's the highest honor. But yeah, I don't think football gives you the opportunity to be the greatest football player
of all time, period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. That's just my opinion. Some people.
Yeah, I wouldn't even, because I think there's arguments can be made for lots of players if we were just trying to. Like you could say Dion was the greatest football player. Though you could. I think it's real hard, like you said. And then certain positions, just the nature of the game, have a lot more spotlight than others. So I don't know. It's kind of hard.
I was gonna wait, but since you brought that question up, I also want to ask you guys, because they're saying he's the greatest athlete.
Nah, definitely.
Nah. Okay, I'm gonna throw that in now because
It's absurd.
Okay, we're on the same page. Just want to make sure. Because
that's absurd.
Yeah,
they have.
Did they not see the highlights of Bo Jackson in his day?
I guess I don't think they mean all time. I think they just mean like right now he's the greatest athlete because he won it.
But are they factoring athleticism in this?
When you
does that word? Does athleticism have any part of this?
Right. You know what I'm saying?
But even still, no.
Yeah. Okay, as long as we're on the same page, just making sure. President, what you got to say?
I don't think he's the GOAT.
Okay.
If he wants to prove that he's the GOAT, he has to come to Chicago and win the Super Bowl for the Bears. That proves 100% that he's the GOAT.
That man said he has to
until he comes to Chicago and win the Super Bowl for my Bears. I can't put him as a GOAT.
Okay.
Nah, he the GOAT. I mean, I think what's so crazy about him is that he's showing people that you don't have to be the most talented, because he's clearly not the most talented quarterback. And if you just work on just the fundamentals and the little nuances of the game, you can have more longevity than the guys who are more talented than you. Because he outlasted all of these guys. 43 years old, and he's doing this based on he can read and see what type of defense you are. He worked on his mechanics, his footwork in the pocket, those little nuances that you don't see guys like Mahomes working on. Even though Mahomes is spectacular and Aaron Rodgers, them dudes they can make throws off their back foot, throwing all types of awkward angles. But when you get older, you don't have that same athleticism.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's a big conversation in sports. You know what I'm saying? The athleticism versus the talent or the skill set and what have you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people,
you even saw that in boxing.
Right. And yes, in sports in general, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people argue, because nowadays a lot of the guys are more athletic. They can, they can jump out the roof, they can jump out the building, they can throw 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but when that goes, what do you have? And
exactly,
even like a Michael Jordan had to, you know what I'm saying, he couldn't rely on just dunking, getting to the rim when the Pistons was knocking him back. So he had to work on that jump shot. That fadeaway had to improve. You know what I'm saying? So funny you guys should mention, well, the president mentioned that, but Kevin Garnett just recently made a statement. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. About, he said guys like 20 years ago wouldn't be able to play in the NBA today because now the guys, can cross you over, dribble you out the building, and so forth and so forth. So it kind of comes back to that conversation. But what do you guys? I don't know. Did you guys see the quote or hear it? Because I
did. I think I don't know if I put it in. I'm about to send it somewhere. I don't know if I sent it to y'all in the chat or not. Yeah. Okay. So to me, when you do the whole era thing, it's just weird because like, like if you just took them in their present form and you teleported them to this NBA, yeah, they're gonna be going up against shit that they ain't seen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they I remember somebody told me how like, yeah, Kobe was, a Jordan clone, but Kobe like wouldn't have been able to play back then. I'm like, yo, back then when Jordan had his height, nobody had a game, like especially when it come to handle wise, that the way that Kobe came up and the way like Iverson, all them, they weren't guarding dudes that did that with the basketball. So they would have been watching this dude like, what, like look like an alien to them. You know what I'm saying? But like, so when you switch people out of this era, it's easy to say they couldn't have done this or couldn't have done that. But Garnett was talking about how like they couldn't adjust because of the rules. Like, you can't put your hands on players now. And back then, like you could. Is that imagine if you tried to guard Mike without handshaking, which I thought that it's kind of the opposite of what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's what I was going to go to.
Yeah, like those right.
Like it's them, but then saying it's
right. If Mike had the skill, if we just teleported him, yeah, his game wouldn't be as flashy as what we see now. However, even with him just doing the things that he did well then, he would still cook because the defense is, you have to play so soft. You can't breathe on anybody as a foul. He would have just went to work even worse than every night than he did back then. So it's like, there's gonna be a give and take everywhere when you go era to era that way. So I mean, it's I try not to never say, or if you put this one back then, they couldn't handle. Like, you don't know what would happen if they would have played back then. They would have came up back then, so they'd have been playing. They've been forced to play the game that's in front of them. Mm-hmm. Like if today's game wasn't thought of back then, so if they played then, they wouldn't be playing that game. So like it's the whole era thing to me is always a weird comparison.
And like we all said about the Super Bowl and the Chiefs and how they adjusted from their last meeting with them in that first quarter that Tyreek had. They adjusted to what the situation was. Yes, cooked them. Absolutely. Can't argue that. Until they adjusted to the situation that was presented.
Right. So I made the assumption that they won't adjust.
Right. I feel people would definitely adjust. And like I said, KG to me contradicted himself when he said the kids today, play such as da-da-da-da, and the guys back then wouldn't be able to. And then he brought the rules into it.
Right.
So are you saying it's them, or are you saying it's the rule change? Because if it's the rule change, then you're saying the rules are, in his words, the rules are easier now for offenses to to perform, which is in every sport. A lot of people would say home runs are up,
sure,
dunks and threes,
because it's a product.
Yeah, because that's right, exactly, and that's what sells tickets, brings ratings, so on and so forth. But to the president's dismay, defense still wins championships. So
if you have a quarterback,
sure.
You don't need, but again, you didn't need Tom Brady to win. If your defense was playing like that, it could have been somebody else, and
somebody could have got them 31 points.
Yeah.
On that day.
No, but
you had to get to that point though. You got to get there,
right? Because Jameis Winston 30 was not getting there. Like Tom Brady was
giving the ball back to the
not like Tom Brady was.
He could have came in last night and won.
Nah, he would have threw like.
He would have threw like 7 interceptions, bro.
And the Chiefs would have won.
But I don't know what the hell KG was talking about. Like
KG trying to make some news. He was trying to get a little
he was bored. He was bored. He needed to say something because clearly he needs popularity. Maybe he got an album coming out, like because Flex was saying some dumb shit too. Like I don't know what's going on with KG. Like they're branding out. Like he really gonna say the casting 20 years ago couldn't play today? Like not everybody plays to like that athletic style. Like like now, like I get it. You got a lot of runners like Russell Westbrook and so forth. Dudes who push to who are pushing. To get up the court and it plays at a faster pace. But you're trying to say like Klay Thompson doesn't play that fast pace like that. But Allen Iverson did.
Right.
Jordan could definitely push. Reggie
Isaiah
Miller,
Thomas in his prime is cooking a lot of these point guards.
thank you. Reggie Miller, like the dude, Reggie would be he would be elite on the catch and shoot. Like you couldn't stop half of those legends from 20 years ago, including Garnett, will still flourish in today's game, even more so because of the rules.
Yeah.
So to say that these guys like wouldn't survive or they couldn't play, in today's era, that's like
It's nonsense.
the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest thing I've heard.
Nonsense.
Chris, you
Tim
making a lot of
Hardaway,
dumb shit.
Tim Hardaway would kill.
The killer crossover.
Word.
Tim Hardaway would
two-step?
kill.
Gosh, Shem Gobble kill.
Champ, yeah.
Tim Hardaway was literally, I would say, Dame Lillard before Dame Lillard.
Okay.
He could get to the cup, he could shoot the three, and he could control the offense. He just needed that help around him, basically.
And he
They don't
wasn't
even play
fast,
defense in this
fast,
era. What are we
was
talking
just
about?
Quick.
Don't.
Yeah.
They definitely don't.
Everybody will make it in this era. They don't even play defense. I'm watching the Nets give up 199 points every game and whatnot. Like, come on, you just leaving guys wide open. You trying to tell me Larry Bird wide open is not getting buckets?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. Like,
That dude was like automatic before the
20.
term automatic was even came up with.
Right. So I guess we all agree on that. I mean, everybody watching, listening, comment what y'all think about KG thoughts. But like we all kind of agree, except for the president again, that Brady is the GOAT. The president
until he
got
comes
one
to Chicago.
stipulation. Yeah, we heard you.
I need a ring, man.
Listen, you had the
better
Super
get
Bowl
married.
shuffle.
You better get married.
Yo.
Y'all got a rap song, B. It's
My
legendary.
man, it's been 37 years, man.
Do the dance step, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, you heard Chris though, right? You heard Chris though, right?
Song.
What do you say?
Then you want a ring, you better get married. It's crazy. So you really think Mitchell Trubisky is the Bears' issue?
Hell yeah.
You don't think it's Nagy?
The issue too. I mean, listen, it's Trubisky, it's Nagy, and it's that clown Pace. Oh Lord, I can't stand that motherfucker, man. I don't even. Should I be cursing on him?
It's
I don't
okay.
even know.
I allow it.
It's a little too late for that.
Hit the
Got
bleep
it all
on me for
sense
that
stuff,
one.
but it's cool. It's cool.